right, we're up. Definitely getting into the impromptu stream. That I think I said I would do a lot more often last time, and definitely did not do. But we're here, we're back. Honestly, the best news is that we back. Yeah, see? That's exactly my thoughts. The cool thing about being back is that work has not stopped. Just because I haven't really done a video in a little while or haven't done a stream in a couple of months, work has continued. So I've built out a little bit more downtown. I've built out a little bit more around Canal Street with a whole lot of detailing. We'll look at that in depth later. And then just before I decided, you know what, I should just hop on stream and see what's going on, I was working a little bit in Williamsburg, using some of these beautiful new tenement buildings. Well, I guess not really new anymore. They've been around for a few months at this point, but I haven't gotten the chance to use them a ton. And I feel like this is a neighborhood where I'm going to get to use them a lot. Because really, I'm just having fun with this at this point. There is a lot of work that will just never get done because it's just, you know, it's an incredible amount. It's a lot. But little by little, it's getting there. If you are hanging out right now, let me know in chat. What are you looking forward to the most during the upcoming holiday season or the ongoing holiday season? It's already been holidays for a lot of folks, and they're just going to keep on coming. I'm looking forward to having a lot of time off of work. Like a lot, like more than I've had like outside of a vacation, even like including a lot of vacations in many, many years. Which maybe means I get to play a little bit of this. Who knows? Or honestly, I'm going to be pretty darn busy. Despite it being a nice chunk of time off, there is so much going on. So I've zoomed in here a bit on Canal Street. Now, Canal Street is this angled street right here. And then it does sputter out straight in this direction. I guess it ends when it gets all the way down here, but this is like the real main section of it, this, you know, very wide section. And I had previously had this in the game using some of the older roads. You see, I haven't modified all the way down yet because I was really trying to put a detailed look onto this area, redo all the traffic patterns, all the roads, using intersection marking tool, using node controller. So you can see I've added in a lot of ins and outs, as well as building up this entire area here. So these like 1 to 5 or 6 blocks, let's say, I definitely need to do some more, and I would love to detail out the Holland Tunnel area here. So here's the exit and entrance to the Holland Tunnel. I would definitely like to do a bit more of those, but it's surprising how long it took me to do all of this. I mean, I must have, I don't know, it must have been like an hour or two where I just kind of sat and stared at the screen and slowly tweaked together all these intersections because they just do not want to work the way that they are supposed to. People should not be parking there or there. Javier, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, still doing a lot of WTC. I haven't stopped. I certainly don't play this as much as I should be or would like to be because I'm honestly just busy playing other games. I have an absolute addiction at this point to Civilization. I go in spurts. I've been a lot better recently, not playing it quite as much, but it's that game can be such a time suck. And then I think in better kind of gaming news, you know, with my friends that I game with, it really comes and goes. Sometimes they are wanting to game every single night, and sometimes you don't play for weeks or months. And recently we've been on a streak of just playing a ton. We've been playing the game Ember Knights, which is a co-op 4-person like sprite-based roguelite. It's really fun. It's still in development, but the developers are still putting out a lot of updates for that. And then we've been playing a game called Across the Obelisk, which is also a co-op, like a Slay the Spire roguelike card game. And actually a lot of fun. But also, like a single game could take 4 hours. It's like playing D&D. It's a lot. Yeah, Javier, that is a big one. Like, just knowing that nothing's going to change anymore. And there are still a few new assets rolling in and out. Actually, one of them I'll show you now. This asset right here. So this, back out. This is 30 Park Place, one of the Robert Stern buildings, I believe. There's a few buildings like this in the city that have a very similar vibe to them, but this one's one of the tallest, or maybe the tallest, I mean, even taller than the Woolworth building right here, which is, despite being an older building, is not a small one. I actually had this building in here already, but it was just like a PO that I scaled up to make work, and trust me, I had no problem getting another asset and sticking that in there, because this looks a heck of a lot better. And then a lot of the blocks in here have been finished too, and I don't know exactly which ones, but you can see it's a lot denser in Lower Manhattan, whereas previously it hadn't quite been. We'll say that. I feel like I want to put one of the WTC2s in just for fun, even though it's not yet confirmed. That was what I did the last video on several months ago, and I still am planning on doing more like actual videos. I have a lot of ideas. I've like half written a few scripts. I have wanted to take like B-roll footage video around the New York area. I even bought a tripod to be able to do that, but I just really haven't gotten around much to getting that footage and putting the episodes together. I would like to get to a point at some stage where I really do pivot the channel to stream this more, but just use it as a tool to tell more interesting stories in the videos. But I'd like to get a few of those built up so that, like, you know, once I get in the rhythm of it, I have some videos to put out. And I'm hoping that when I have this long break that I could get, like if I don't get at least one video done in a very long break, despite being busy and having plans, whatever, then when will it ever happen? So I do absolutely want to get a video out for the new year. That should be my resolution, right? If I can remember it when I'm, 6 drinks deep at, 11:30. Anybody got New Year's plans yet? Where you live, is it a big deal? Are you in the camp of New Year's is a bunch of BS? People take it too seriously. It's not all that important. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I'd also like to talk a little bit today during today's stream, and we're gonna go here for about an hour in total. We're only about 7 minutes in right now. But one of the things I want to talk about today is what's been going on in New York, because it's been non-stop, wall-to-wall New York coverage. Certainly living here, but I just feel like there's been so many stories of New York in the news recently, and it's been a lot of interesting ones. The news today that is just pure Eric Adams nonsense is, and I'm going to misquote this, I'm not going to get it exactly right, but he was being interviewed and he said something along the lines of, New York's a great place and a complicated place because you can wake up any day and see like a new business owner like opening their restaurant, or it could be another 9/11. Or that a plane could crash into the Trade Center. And that's just an absolutely insensitive and batshit crazy thing to say. I mean, just nuts. And the fact that that guy is the mayor of the largest city in the country and one of the most important cities in the world is ludicrous. And I am desperately hoping that somebody puts up a good fight against him in 2025. And, monkeys paw curls, but yeah, and not Andrew Cuomo, which has been floated recently, which would also be completely ridiculous. That sad old man should just, go away forever and leave us all alone. One of the other problems that I've been having in the game, and I think I maybe need to spend some time browsing the workshop a bit, which I finally like removed from my bookmark since there's so much less action happening on it now. But I would normally in the past, especially in neighborhoods like Williamsburg and Greenpoint that have pretty repetitive streets, you know, full of the same kind of homes, that I would be able to create a zoning theme based around the kind of buildings I want to see, and then just zone it and make it all historical so they don't constantly change, and then just leave it. Or I will build manually a few sets of blocks, and then I'll copy, twist, paste a few blocks away, maybe change a building or two if it calls for it. And that's a way to more quickly get buildings built. But I don't know if there is a building theme mod anymore, or maybe there is and I haven't even given it the slightest look, but I don't have one installed right now. And I really need to do that because it's going to make this a lot easier, because I mean, I just did these 2 full blocks before I got on earlier, and it was not an insignificant amount of time. Traffic's doing all right, though, I'll tell you that. See, traffic's at 79 right now. Yeah, after I redid all of this, that's working a lot better. What's interesting is, since the game went kind of final, there was a lot of last minute mods kind of like locking in. This is the last version, the updated version of this mod. And you can look at under any of my videos and find my mods list, by the way, but I have about 80 items on there right now, some of which are specific to this build, but many of which are good for the average user. And the game's really stable now. I mean, even zoomed out, looking at a lot of things with the simulation on, 26 frames, 19 frames, even zoomed in, you can go up higher than that sometimes, depending how busy it is, 13, 15. I mean, I dipped to 7 there, but that's in the busiest part of the city. In other areas, I mean, it just works, and I don't know how choppy it looks for you on stream, but I've gotten really happy with the way that this looks. A lot of the visual mods changed with the final updates to the game, and I've played around with the lighting settings a little bit. I think it looks a little too dark when you look from the opposite direction. I don't think the coloring is quite as good here, but when you're taking that kind of downtown view, from downtown to uptown, I think that looks really cool. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think any mods are making a comeback at this point. I mean, people are playing City Skylines 2. I guess we could talk about that at some point. I don't know if it had come out the last time I streamed and we had talked about it then, but I still haven't gotten it. And I'm probably, honestly, at this point, not going to get it until I get the sense that the community is happy with where the game is at, or it goes on sale to an amount that I feel is justifiable. I'm glad people are liking it, and in so many ways it looks like a stunning achievement, and in so many ways it's also just not quite the game that I thought it would be or that I necessarily want, and that's all right. The game doesn't have to be for me. There could be millions of other people that will love the way that it is, but I'm still on 1 for now. I can't live without Move It. Are you kidding me? Could you? I mean, Move It is just the best mod in the game. I think it's the most important one. There's other things that do more, but from how essential it is to what you do, no matter what you're trying to do, anytime you log into the game and load up your save, you want that. I was actually down recently, yesterday actually, before the crazy rainstorm. I was in these blocks around here. I was in Alphabet City, East Village, kind of wandering around in and out of Alphabet City and the East Village. I hadn't been down there in a really long time, and it's amazing how much things are just changing. Blocks I just completely don't recognize anymore, or areas that I'm like, oh, maybe I haven't been down this block, or if I was down that block 8 years ago and several drinks in. Not really doing the best things for memory in that regard. I think we should build a couple of blocks. Let's keep building in Williamsburg. So again, when I'm building, you'll see me look off to the screen a lot. I have Google Maps up. On my other monitor, I have a big screen in front of me and then a vertical monitor off to my right. But I really like to, build a little bit around here. Maybe even at some point I want to start connecting things, but man, if there is really no like replacement or something similar for theming a mod out, I mean, this is gonna be pretty brutal. Like not right now necessarily, but just in general. Because, the game's really stable right now at, about 161,000 inhabitants. And I don't know, I think I could get it to, I don't know, 250? I think that's doable, but that's a lot of building. And then still probably more. So again, using these tenement buildings, which I love. And in a lot of blocks, because I'm trying to pick up the pace a little bit of what I'm doing here. I say it a million times on my streams, but, don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Trust me, I use that line at work a lot too. But it is true. And I am just trying to get the vibe of the blocks that I'm building. Even if I'm not necessarily building it the best way or the most accurate way that I could in the game. What is going on here? What am I looking for? That's it. It's like certain buildings you know how to build with, and it kind of just anchors what you're doing. And this small building with the awning going that direction is exactly what I wanted here. We're building right now. This is the corner of South 4th and Driggs Avenue in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. I used to live like 3 or 4 blocks away from here. It's a pretty popular neighborhood. Obviously Williamsburg has like completely popped off in the last really like 20 years. It used to be the joke that Williamsburg is like where all the hipsters are, but you can watch my video about Williamsburg used to be cool. It really now is... I still like it there, don't get me wrong. It's still a great neighborhood. But it's no longer... It's not hipsters. It's not, people looking for a good deal. It's Soho East. And again, like, that's alright. It's... Neighborhoods change. New York changes. Just like yesterday in Alphabet City. But if you're not considered Williamsburg in a while, you might have to like kind of change your viewpoint on it a little bit, because it's still a lot of fun. It's got, still has great bars and restaurants, and if you're from the area and you know where to look, there's still a lot of great spots, and I still love going out there. Anybody here dreaming of a trip to New York anytime soon? I work in Soho, and it's just like tourists constantly, which is great. I mean, like, New York needs it. It's fantastic. I love that people visit the city, but it is kind of wild sometimes. Come on. Yeah. I actually have a friend visiting in about a month, in like late January, from out of town, and that'll be good. I mean, he's been to New York before, but it'll be nice to catch up with somebody. Hey, look at that. Oh wait, no, there's more. Is there still more? I gotta get one more piece in here. That's how we do it, guys. One block at a time. And that's why there's so much empty space. I don't know, maybe I just keep building up. Try to see if I can get to... If I can actually get to connect it in some way. Which one am I looking at here? Oh, okay, this will actually be a fun one. On this block is a school. It's a middle school. So we can do either elementary or high school in the game. Cool with that. And yeah, I like this building right here for the front. So do I make it both? Do I do it like, oh right, it is two schools. It's one school here, it's a community school, and then there's a charter school attached to the end of it here. So if I do it like this. Yeah, love that. Okay. All right, that works well. Now we'll just kind of cover up the crap in the back of it. And then you just surround it in apartments. Easy as that. I definitely want more of these tenement buildings in though. I want tenement corner red. You almost have to like learn how to search for these. I mean, you can really say that about any asset in City Skylines, I guess, but this one in particular, I've been trying to make sure I get in when I need to. All right, that looks good. And there's like one building sticking out here. And then the rest of this is like blacktop for the school. And I'll just blot that out and come back to that at another time. I'll detail that out. Or do I have like a quick basketball hoop asset? Yeah, that works. All right, that's 2 blocks with you guys, 3 earlier. That's 5 blocks in one day. This must be a record. So I mentioned before about all the other crazy stuff going on in New York. So you know, the other big news in New York is that they released the final plan for congestion pricing, which is scheduled to go into effect potentially as early as next summer, or like late in the spring even, I've heard potentially. They're already erecting all the machinery for it. And for those of you who don't know, this is a system to charge drivers a fee for driving into central Manhattan below 60th Street, with different breaks and pricing depending on if you're a truck or what time of the day it is. But if you come into the city, you have to pay that extra fee, and this is on top of the tolls that are already paid for the highways and bridges and tunnels surrounding the city. And it's really controversial because entitled, wealthy drivers are big, whiny babies, and their congressmen want to coddle them. So a lot of the congressmen, particularly in New Jersey, Josh Gottheimer in particular, is been ranting on and on and on about how this is harming his constituents, despite the fact that only 25% of them actually drive into the city and 75% take the trains. And of course, congestion pricing by law must provide the MTA with $1 billion a year in funding. And that's why the tolls have been set up the way they are. This is meant to be a dedicated revenue stream for the MTA. And given the current state of a lot of other transit agencies around the US right now, the MTA is in pretty good shape. But this money will go a long way to helping them advance their future plans. And even just enact their current ones to continue buying new trains and modernizing signals and doing what it takes to keep the system running. Because unlike pretty much any other city in the US, and plenty of cities in the US rely on their transit, but no city relies on their transit as much as New York does. Without it, it's just the city isn't what it can be. It isn't what it's meant to be. That can't exist. So if you've heard about congestion pricing, let me know in comments. What do you think about it? I work in Manhattan, and there's so much traffic, and it feels so dangerous. It's criminal, and you have other problems compounding that, like, you know, Sammy's Law, which no one refuses to enact, which would be a law to allow New York City to have control over its speed limits, whereas right now only the state can tell what those limits should be. There are a lot of roads in New York that are, you know, should be lowered. Potentially lower than the 25 minimum limit, which I believe exists on most streets. And traffic like this means that people that live here are breathing in fumes all day from gasoline, from diesel, from tire parts. And it's dangerous. You know, hundreds of people die every year on the roads in New York. 40,000 Americans die every year in automobile-related accidents. And we need to be doing better than that as a society. Congestion pricing has worked. It's worked in London. It's worked in other parts of Europe where it's been tried. And I think it's going to work here. It'll be crazy at first, and people will be upset about it. And they will get over it. And they will take the goddamn train. So, we'll see what happens with that. I'm hoping that nothing happens here to hurt the program and prevent it from being put into place, because that would be a really drastic reduction in the availability of money for the MTA to run. Yeah, Javier, I appreciate that sentiment. Yeah, I mean, LA is doing great. LA is, you know, they're gonna build high-speed rail. They're building high-speed rail. They're building out new subways in LA. It's awesome. I mean, LA is making huge strides. They need to do more. It needs to be more aggressive to fight back on a deeply entrenched car culture there. But, you know, you got to take what you can get sometimes. And then sometimes you got to be mad about what you get, like with the MTA right now, and some of the plans for the 2nd Avenue subway. One of the things that came to be announced when they approved funding for the 2nd Avenue subway for the second phase extension into East Harlem was that the stations were completely overpriced. The final station at 125th, the station alone is going to cost $1 billion and includes significantly more backroom areas and staff rooms and equipment rooms than any other station, or certainly any station that would be built in another country in the modern day. And yet the MTA is just sticking to their guns, and it just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why, even when they're called out on it, and even when you finally get the media to care about the fact that the MTA is got something going on with why everything costs too much, even then they can't control it. And I hope there's more on that. I don't believe that story is finished being told yet, but it's really disappointing to see that. I don't have that built in this game because this doesn't quite go up as far. So Central Park ends about here. That's 1/10. 125th's up here somewhere, so off the map. It's wild to me in the new city skylines that while the map itself is much bigger, the playable area is not that much bigger than this. Kind of disappointing. But still cool that you could have further out areas, and at least like I guess you could, you know, build your trains in and put some outside infrastructure out there at the very least, highways and whatnot. What do I want to look at here? I guess I should go back to building, right? All right, so we're still building up here. This is Driggs. Am I between Driggs? Where am I right now? That's Marcy, Havermeyer, Roebling, and this is Driggs. Yeah, that's right. I know my streets, all right? Yeah, no joke though. I mean, I used to live like very close to here, so only for about a year, only a little bit a while ago, but that was a good time. Only chance that I had to live in Brooklyn though. I would definitely like to get back to Brooklyn maybe at some point in my life, but that also could probably just not happen at this point, and that's okay. You can't be everywhere. For anyone who's like, you know, not from the New York area, from what you know and what you understand about the city, if you were living here, what borough would you want to be in? And don't say Staten Island. If you say Staten Island, you're getting kicked off the channel. I'm kidding. Nothing but love for Staten Island, right? Seriously, like, you're out. Just go. You say it. Don't say it. I can't even see the chat right now. I have no idea what's going on. This is why I understand now when you see these like high-end streamers that have like 1 million monitors. I'm like, yeah, I can't see everything at the same time. It's not great. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna slap a whole bunch of these buildings down. 1, 2. Ooh, there's like a fancy condo building here. Okay. You'll notice that as we get more north here, so south side of Williamsburg, like the area in between Metropolitan and the bridge, like it's like South Berks to South 5th or 6th-ish, is very Puerto Rican. People that have been in the neighborhood for decades and haven't necessarily experienced some of the change that the other parts of the neighborhood have. But the further north you go, and increasingly, you know, it's everywhere in Williamsburg, the whole area, you know, as long as you're close-ish to a subway station, which is not always a guarantee, you know, the neighborhood just keeps growing, and you see empty lots everywhere that are just going to be built from, you know, what might have been a small single-family home to something that's a little more than that. You know, maybe some kind of apartment building, but I mean, it's a good thing. You know, it's a great neighborhood. It's a great place to be. And New York City needs more housing wherever we can get it. The only thing that I really hate sometimes, though, what you see is something I've been noticing a lot more of recently, and particularly in projects in my old neighborhood on the Upper East Side, but also I've seen a lot of people on Twitter in particular kind of calling it out. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I'm at I think you know. Is that a lot of times you'll see a new building go up in a neighborhood like that, and the problem is that they knock down more apartments per building than they build. So let's say they knock down 3 6-story walk-up buildings. So there might be 20 apartments in each of those. So you knock down 4 of those buildings, you knock down 80 apartments. Then they put up a big condo tower, but it's only 60 condos. Now those condos might be larger, there might be more 2 and 3 bedrooms, sizes that are great for families and often hard to find in New York. But they're brand new, they're expensive, and overall to start you have less apartments. It's a problem, and I don't know if there's a really good solution for it. I almost would hesitate to see the city or some kind of legislation meddling in that, because I think it'd be really easy to get wrong. But at the same time, it is a little mischievous to have developers, you know, claiming to be building new when in reality they're not adding anything to the housing supply in New York. And I want this block done. I don't really like this block. It's kind of boring me. And then this corner here is like pretty flat. I just... Maybe I can find something that fits. It's like a 4x3. Maybe I have a 3x4. Just want something lower to the ground to kind of blend into what it is. Alright, you know what? That's going to have to do. Let's take a look at what chat's doing. Jokes aside, Manhattan. Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn's fantastic. Honestly, though, you can't go wrong in any of the 4 main boroughs. And Staten Island has, you know, it's different. It's more like, it's much more suburban or semi-urban, more like some of the immediate areas surrounding New York. But it's the right place for the right person. Just, that person's just not me. Could you imagine I talk all this crap and then like one day in the future of my life I end up like having to move there? It'd be amazing. I've only been there like twice in my life and I live 20 miles away. Is it even 20 miles? It's probably like not even close to 20 miles. Wait. No, it's like not even close. Wait. Let's do a as the crow flies measurement here. From where I am to the tip of the Staten Island where the ferry is, it's only 11 miles. Okay. $4,200. Oy, oy, oy. Did you leave New York entirely or just found a cheaper place to live? It sucks. Like people that from here want to be here can't live here anymore because it's too expensive. I think they said New York has a shortage right now of 400,000 units. And we're building like, there's months that happen where then 0 permits get approved in Manhattan. I mean, we need to be like massively upzoning and building like thousands of apartments. One big apartment complex did break ground today. So it's off the map here, but this is LaGuardia Airport and the Mets Willets Point City Field area is down here someplace. And the Willets Point neighborhood has been like pretty blighted for a long time. It's a controversial neighborhood in a lot of ways. But they're finally renovating some of the area next to the stadium. They're building 1,000 affordable units, which like a bunch of them are reserved for seniors. A bunch of them are at 80% of median income. So a fair amount of apartments are truly affordable. Not just saying that. And then around there, they're building a community center. They're building a school. They're building a bunch of retail. And then there's a bunch of developers vying to either build a football stadium there for NYCFC, soccer football, and potentially a casino. And we'll see. Really interesting proposals. Nothing's been confirmed yet. Move to Atlanta, hot Atlanta. Not a town that I've been to. I feel like I hear mostly good things, but definitely different kind of place. Another city that has a decent transit system, but should have a lot better. Could have had a lot better. 4,200 in Bushwick in 21. I mean, during COVID in Bushwick, I mean, Bushwick's crazy now. I mean, people are priced at, they got priced out of Williamsburg 5-10 years ago. Now they're priced out of Bushwick too. Ridgewood's getting very expensive. At the end of last year, the most visited, like the most searched new neighborhoods was it's like Maspeth, Woodside, Sunnyside. People are like, well, I don't want to go further out. They want to loop back around and stay close. Trying to find affordable neighborhoods. And that means those neighborhoods are going to be next to be descended upon by people looking for a good deal with a decent commute. And hopefully it doesn't get too bad in those areas. Don't come, it's crappy. Yeah, I mean, it's not on the top of my list. I'll be honest with you. There's nothing there that would particularly draw me to see it. I've been to the airport, as I'm sure many people have. I don't know if it still is, but for many years was the busiest airport in the US. In the world, maybe? Even? I don't know. Doesn't quite matter. Yeah. Also, the other thing is, like, nowhere is cheap now. I mean, in a lot of those places, your money will go further. Your money, it'll never be an extreme price to rent like New York is, but a lot of times you leave New York, you go to a smaller city, then you need a car. So now you got to spend several $100s a month, car payment, gas, parking, tolls, tickets, repairs, insurance. And then the rent in these places is still, you know, $2,500 for a 1-bedroom in a nice area. They built a bunch of new apartments up in my hometown in Rockland County in the suburbs. And people are like, I can't believe they're $2,300 for a new apartment. I'm like, that's low. You could probably get $3,000. Like, you know, I'm talking like across the street from an express train that brings you into Manhattan in a little over an hour. The whole and I don't even know if it's just the US. I hear a lot of things, and it's not everywhere. There are some countries with plenty of housing, particularly in places where they have very lax housing rules. And I mean lax in a good way, as in breaking down the red tape to make it easier to build and more affordable to build. Or countries that have declining populations due to various other societal issues, like Japan, where I was in Japan in September of this year, sorry. And yeah, even in like Tokyo, it's like very affordable to find places to live. People are able to open up their own little shops and stores because you can just like open up a shop or store anywhere. You can build an apartment building relatively easy. And then on top of that, they have a declining aging population. So, but in the US, we went the opposite direction. We went suburban, and people don't want apartment buildings being built in their towns, but yet we're spending billions of dollars to send trains to them. Particularly in places like New York with the LARR, Metro North, and New Jersey Transit. So we just gotta build more. It's amazing that it's not a national crisis, and it's kind of a shame that the Democrats don't just make that like the center of their platform. Like, you're worried about inflation, all right? We're gonna make your biggest expense, the thing that Americans spend the most money on. We're going to find a way to make that cheaper for you. How is that not a winning platform item? It's really a shame, but we can hope and dream. Maybe somebody will pick up the gauntlet of that eventually, and you know, small steps are being made. You're seeing a lot of cities, bigger and bigger cities, get rid of parking minimums. You're seeing cities change their zoning. You know, Minneapolis is a case where it's still kind of expensive there. I think a lot of migration there is tempered by the fact that it can get real damn cold there. It's the coldest major metro city in the country. But housing is relatively affordable there because they've done a lot of great work to incentivize building and putting in a decent and growing mass transit system. And that's a city that's doing really well. something that I've always considered is like, do I want a piece of land up in the like a climate refugee city? Do I want to, get in on the ground floor and try to eventually build something somewhere that in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, people are like, I can't live in Phoenix anymore. I literally can't live in Phoenix anymore. I can't live in parts of Florida anymore, parts of Texas where it's, it's 100 degrees for 3 months in a row. What was Phoenix this year? 110 for 20 days or whatever. I mean, but imagine like 110, 120 all summer. No break. Nighttime lows in the 90s. People are not going to want to take it anymore. It's going to become too much. Yeah, the genius. Totally agree with you. I feel like it's a concept that was so talked about 15, 20 years ago, and some places did it, but they never went all the way. Like in New York, in New Jersey rather, they built the Hudson-Bergen light rail. It doesn't go to Bergen County. If that went to Bergen County, I mean, they would change those neighborhoods, but they don't really want it. But too bad. Like you're getting a train. Like it has to happen. We can't let, a few dozen wealthy people in the suburbs dictate what can and can't be done for tens and hundreds of thousands of people who need a break. And thanks. I like the Hudson Yards area. They came out nice. I mean, these assets are top notch. They're some of the best in the game. But I even like little aspects here. I always thought this park came out nice. I think I've lost some of the detailing at some point. But this whole Midtown area, I think, looks good. I mean, the Penn Station is pretty solid. I mean, again, a lot of my pavement got erased at some point because that's just a bug in that mod. And look how fluid it is. Like I said, I'm zooming in and out, 15, 20 FPS. Like it works. It works really well. But I wish I just had more time to do it. That's really it. I'm gonna have just a couple more minutes here. I have to go back to work tomorrow. I spent the entire week home last week after a COVID exposure. And I apparently have a pile of boxes on my desk that is taller than I am. Yeah, I know. I'm an amateur at this, and I want to be doing more, and I will. And I was speaking earlier about I have a nice long break from work coming up, and I'm going to take some of that time to get a video out, or at least to get a video finalized, finished, done. I want to do that. I do really want to do more. But I got a whole life, friends, family, girlfriend, the whole 9 yards. So I'm out here. I live in Queens, and I'm enjoying my life and playing other games, or maybe not putting as much time into this as I would like to. But I'm so glad that I get to hang out with everybody here once in a while. Nice to see that people are still interested in the channel. And stay tuned. Stay subscribed. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. And definitely by January, there will be a new video. And I'll never commit too much at this point to doing any particular regular schedule, but we're not done here. This channel is going to continue to exist. And some of the videos will be super high effort, and some will be easy, and some of them will just be streams like this. So I want everybody here to have a very, very good night, a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, and a wonderful New Year. See you all in 2024.